Sandy Lincoln, strategist at BMO Asset Management, joins us live from Chicago right now to take a closer look. Now, being from Chicago, I'm sure President Obama is quite happy with these numbers, but do these jobs revisions to the upside make a difference for the market?
Well, the jobs number is just a number that has gotten an awful lot of attention. We're getting gradual progress on the jobs front, that's for sure. Some months we get encouraging news on initial unemployment claims. Some months we get higher private payrolls than we expected, and some months disappointing. I think the trend is gradual. I think the trend is incremental, and understandably, there are a lot of things overhanging confidence in corporate America for hiring. But having said that, I think the trend is still our friend, as gradual as it might be, Philip.
When we look at the marketplace today, there are so many strategists and economists, and there's plenty of risk out there. We don't have to go through all the details. But as you look at the marketplace going forward, the next quarter, how concerned are you about earnings for 2013?
Well, let's just take a look at that for a minute. Let's start with just the third quarter that just ended, for example, and take a look at what's apt to happen in that, because I think that sets the stage. We're going to get a kind of a disappointing number, I think, in terms of earnings growth. There will be earnings growth. The expectation is for the third quarter, it'll be 1.5% to 2%, maybe a nudge north of that. If it is north of that, it'd be a positive surprise for the markets. The sales side is maybe going to be 3 to 3.5%. And if we can keep sales in that 3 to 4% range, it means pretty good things for profits and profit margins. So my guess would be we're going to see a pretty significant bounce in profits as we head to the fourth quarter of 2012. And that sets the stage for 2013, I think.
Sandy, is it possible that profits are higher but the economy is worse? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but you look at what's happening in Europe, you look at what's happening in China. These are some significant challenges for the economy, but the market seems very happy.
Well, absolutely. The asset prices have largely decoupled from what we see as a very ordinary or worse economic kind of performance. So there is that decoupling. You're absolutely right, Philip. On the other side of that equation, however, let's not forget that we've got an awful lot of liquidity, and that's part of the reason these asset prices have come up so much, is the liquidity that's been provided. And we've had a lot of progress since July out of the ECB in particular and the European Union. If that continues and we get surprises to the upside, it wouldn't surprise me to start to see some of this liquidity get mopped up, some of the deployment into hiring, some of the deployment into corporate investment, and maybe we get a bright surprise when we get to 2013. We've got the fiscal cliff here in the U.S. to worry about as well, and that's not insignificant, but I think in the lame duck session.
Sandy, let's talk about that just a little bit here. If you're already long this market, investors who are watching this program generally are invested into the marketplace in one way or another. Is there one data point you can look at that might change your mind to take profits off the table in the coming weeks?
Well, I think not. I think we tend to be more strategic. We tend to be a little less tactical in terms of the shifts. And generally, I think if we see the lame duck session not downsize at all this fiscal cliff, if they don't extend the Bush cuts for most Americans, if they don't do the AMT fix, if they don't do the doc fix for Medicare reimbursement, if they don't defer some spending, that would be a signal, I think, that we've got a problem coming and significant fiscal drag into 2013, and that might trigger a short-term entry into a contracting economy if that was to occur, and that could be a buying opportunity. But for those that are tactical, you might want to shift out ahead of that.
Sandy, it sounds like you're offering to come to Washington, D.C. to help get things cleaned up. Sandy Lincoln live for us in Chicago. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.